Hello and welcome to another video here at the Grüne Horde. It's me, Hank, and today we are taking a look at a new game, Frostgrave, from Joseph A. McCullough and published in Osprey Games. It's a hardcover book, and it sounds really interesting. I loved Wartime some years back, and this is kind of more time focusing on wizards, which is one of the favorite parts of Wartime, with a lot of spells. And it plays in Frostgrave. That's a city below snow, lost for 1,000 years, magical city, coming back now, snow is melting, and all the wizards are going in there to search for magical items. There are 10 different types of wizards, kind of a summoner, getting demons, elementalist, just with a fireball, it's the one you can see here, basically. And 8 other types. Necromancers in charge of zombies and all you can imagine. It sounds interesting, and we will also do an unboxing here from the first miniatures we also have, and then play some games as soon as they are painted. We will see what kind of terrain we are using. I don't really have a fantasy snow city yet. Let's put it that way. I don't have it yet. I might build one specific for this game, depending on how the first games look like. Okay, contents. What do we get? Wizards and warbands. It's clearly focusing on the wizard. First thing you get to know is the 10 types of wizards. Then your warband apprentice just gets, this is 10 pages, even more. Yeah, 1 page for the apprentice or 2, another one for the soldiers, and that's then weapon descriptions. So wizards are in the focus of this game. Next we go for playing a game, setting up a table, what we all need there, movement phase, combat phase, shooting, spellcasting, of course, one of the interesting ones, and then collecting treasures and ending the game. The main part of the book, from page 48 here, is the campaign until 70. Connecting games, so you can have an experience systems, you can have injured or deaf soldiers and also wizards. You can buy them back, get new soldiers, apprentices, and get a new wizard by promoting your apprentice. Basically, you can't buy a new wizard. Chapter 4 is the spells. That's until page 95. All spells, 80 spells, 8 per kind of wizard, and then you have scenarios, mausoleum, genie in a bottle, library, all those things you think of when you're thinking on magic, wizards, and yeah, more time earlier. Chapter 6, undead animals, constructs, demons, and miscellaneous creatures. All other types of things that can run around in Frostgrave. Then we have some spell cards and the wizard sheet. These two are also available as PDF download. And I recommend to get these, use the spell cards, print them, maybe run them through a laminator, and then they are stable and you can play with them. The spell list in here is by alphabetical order, since every wizard can use every spell. You will just have negative modifiers, or positive, it's written with a +2 for the test on wizardry. To use those spells from the lores you're not familiar with. You will test power on your own lore. You will get +2 on those from aligned lores, +4 for neutral lores, and +6 for an enemy opposing lore of wizardry. Okay, so nice artwork again here. Sometimes the models don't show enough snow for my liking. That's the marksman model. That's one of those I already have, and I will show you very soon. Miniatures, 28mm is a scale of choice, and that's where North Star Figures makes the wizards for. But of course you could use other scales and might have to adjust the measurements. You need dice, and in this case 20-sided dice. It plays on a table, of course, and you can play on a 2x2 feet table. It's recommended on 3x3, and 4x4 is already an impressive game. If I like the game, I in the long run go for a normal game size of 4x4 for sure, and build me my own territory. Yeah, here we have those wizards. We'll start with them, the wizards, and this describes which are the aligned ones to the chronomancer, and aligned are necromancer, soothsayer, elementalist, neutral, thaumaturge, summoner, illusionist, witch, and sigilist. And then there's always one opposed one, the enchanter in this case. Okay, elementalist is the next one. This is the one with the fireball. We have the enchanter. He can work magic into items like a magic weapon. Illusionist, he will basically trick you somehow. Necromancer, death mage, so he awakes zombies or skeletons. Sigilist, he's the writer, the rune reader, and he can inscribe scrolls, and then it's easier for those scrolls to be used during the fight. Soothsayer, fortune teller, he knows the future and can use that to his advantage, hopefully. This is the apothecary, also one of the models I really like and one of the models I had to get. Summoner, in charge of getting demons. Thaumaturge is the invoker, wonder worker. He will manufacture kind of these constructs and then bring them to life. And the witch, this is more either shaman or witch that we know, collector from bones, herbs, everything. And that's also visible in the models for the witch if you have seen them already. We have a stat line, it's quite easy. We have the move, we have fighting skill, shoot skill. Movement is an inch, and the others are with plus. So this one gets nothing plus for shooting, but +2 for fighting, since he's a hero. Armor, this is again value from the 10-sided dice, +4 for will. Wizards have a good willpower, of course, and 14 is the health. And that's it, basically. You will write stats either as number or as plus, and you can write them as split stat. So 6, now 2 / +3 would mean that 2 is your basic skill, but due to second weapon, for example, you can have +3 fighting. And the same would be true for injuries. And the main reason, so injuries, you have +2 fighting, but due to an injury, you have only +1. But your basic skill will be used for your apprentice. And that's the next one here. Every apprentice has similar stats than the wizard, and it writes wizard -2 here for fighting. So basically 0 in this case, and -2 for shooting. Apprentice is very bad at shooting. This is a starting apprentice. Also with the experience, you will only roll or grow your wizard. Your apprentice will stay below him with these -2, -2, and -4 for health. In all stats, basically. Makes it easy, keeps the focus on the wizard. I'm quite sure that's interesting. And soldiers are even easier. This is what they have, and you can basically give them one additional item. So you have a warhound, of course he cannot carry any items. You have a thief, an archer, crossbowman, man-at-arms, infantryman, knight, barbarian, apothecary, marksman. The marksman has a better stat line than the crossbowman. Crossbowman and archer are the same. They have different rules for the crossbow. Crossbow basically gives +2 damage and reload action for shooting. There's a disadvantage on the crossbow. You can fight unarmed with -2 modifiers if you want, and everything is done here in this table. These are all the weapons available by now, and most weapons are just hand weapons, done no special skills for all the weapons. Let's see if that changes in the long run. Playing the game, of course, set up the table in a manner you like, as much terrain as you can, as for most skirmishes. Then it starts with the initiative. You roll for it. Whoever gets the highest initiative starts, even on a more player game. Then this one moves his wizard. Everybody moves his wizard, Then you come to the apprentice phase. With initiative, you move all your apprentices. And this, for example, is a shaman, the witch. It looks really nice. After the apprentice phase, you move all the soldiers, and then the creature phase. So all the creatures like dogs will move then. There is an option for a group activation. Wizard and apprentice can activate, and together with them they can activate 3 neighboring inside 3-inch figures, and then all those do their movement. So it makes sense to keep them as a group, and again gives focus on wizard and his apprentice. Yeah, movement. Basically you have your base movement, you have 2 actions per figure. One should be movement. In most cases it might be something like reload, or if you're in combat then you will only have combat. On your first part of your activation, the movement is the number in your stat line. If you choose to move both of your actions, then the second one will just get you half of that movement. So maybe 5 plus 2.5 makes 7.5 if you want to run. Rough ground, of course, reduces your movement. For every inch you move, you have to count as 2 inch. If you kind of reach combat, then from that moment on you are in combat. If you move by spell, you can also go into combat and teleport into combat. Moving off the board is possible voluntarily if you are securing treasure. So a figure that has treasure gets that token off board, and you get the points for the tokens and can collect it later. Not involuntarily, so you can't push somebody off the board by fighting or by spells. He will then stay at the board edge. Of course, there are rules for jumping and falling, and there are rules for combat. Basically, combat is a comparative dice throw. Both throw a d20 at their fighting stats and modifiers due to weapons, whatever, or spells that are active. And compare that. The higher one wins, does a hit, and then you compare the roll to the armor stat, and if there is more higher result than the armor, this delta is the damage to the health of the figure. There is an option for multiple combats. Always one figure can activate and choose to fight, and others can help. So a supporting figure, in this case, gets the +2 on the dice roll for A1 if A2 is the supporting. In this case, nobody is supporting, and in this case, both are supporting. Now, both would get, so if B1, A2 fight, both would get support from either B2 or from A1, but both get the same modifier, so the modifier is ignored, and we stay at 0 on the modifier. Same here. Everything cancels each other out, and here you could get a modifier from the C. B1 is fighting against A1 and A2, which the other one is always cancelled by B2, but he will get A1 and A2 will get a modifier by C2, since it's also an enemy to B1, and the creature won't get anything. Yeah, no, the creature would also get +2, basically. Critical hits, whenever you roll a natural 20, that's a critical hit. Okay, nice. Shooting, you compare your shooting skill to the fighting skill of the other guy. So fighting is also the agility, how to, not getting hit by arrows. And you have some modifiers here on shooting: light cover, heavy cover, hasty shot if you have been moving, and -2 for the large target. It's easier to hit if it's a negative modifier. Spell casting. Now you compare everything to a will roll, and every spell has a casting value, and you have to be above that. If you fail it by 1 to 4, nothing happens. If you fail it by 5 to 9, you take 1 damage. 10 to 19, 2 damage, 20 plus, 5 damage. So if you really fail it really badly, then you get hurt. You can empower spells. So if you are failing it by 1, you could sacrifice 1 health to increase your will roll, your casting roll, and then get the spell working. You can also empower it to increase the overall rating if you're casting something where your opponent has a chance to undo it by a will test of his own. Then you could empower it. He can also empower his binding roll there to bind the wizardry. Last option, you could reduce damage. By spending 1 damage, you could get this to 19, and then you are in total just taking 3 damage instead of 5 if you have failed it really, really bad. The resisting spells, that's the one with the other one trying to undo the magic, collecting treasure. If you get a token, you can take it off board, and only figures, soldiers with some brain, so no dogs can take treasure. Creature actions are the last, and creature actions have a clear rule here. If it's in combat, it stays in combat. If there's somebody in 10 inch or in line of sight, it moves there. If there's neither situation applicable, the creature will move in a random direction. That's it. Very easy rules. Okay, it ends when all treasure tokens are collected. Somebody doesn't have any figures or throws in the game, basically, or if there are scenarios with specific conditions. Now we're going for the campaign here, and injury and death. It's very easy for the soldiers. Roll on a 1 to 4, the soldier is killed. On a 5 to 8, he's badly wounded, misses the game, and higher than that, so 9+, and he is back. Wizards and apprentice have a more detailed table. They can be dead on a 1 to 2. They can have a permanent injury. Then you have to roll here, and you can have a smashed leg, lost eye, smashed jaw, never quite as strong. So different kind of injuries. Here, of course, 9 to 20 would then be full recovery for them. All injuries are described. You can basically have every injury twice, and after that you would have to re-roll the injury. Lost eye, if you receive it twice, you are blind, and okay, if you don't have any chance to cast miraculous cure, and the character is basically dead for game purposes. You can't play with him. If you're already close to getting a miraculous cure spell, maybe you can learn it for your apprentice and he can help it. Or there is the elixir of life. No, that would still keep you blind. Experience system. You get 10 points for every cast spell. Doesn't matter if wizard or apprentice, and everything else is basically wizard only. The next 3. If you kill a soldier, 40 points, 80 for an apprentice, 150 for a wizard, 50 for every treasure token. In this case, it's not important who has the treasure token. If you reach 100 points, you raise a level, and for every level you raise, you can improve one of the following stats up to the maximum on the shown brackets: fight, shoot, will, health, or improve a known spell by -1, so lower the casting number, or learning a new spell, basically. So, in the new spell, if you have a spell in a grimoire, in a book of magic, you can decide, I want to learn this and get this into my normal knowledge. Really cool idea. Treasure tokens will give you either money, the top ones, or in the low ones above 13, you will have one of these grimoires to make magic. You can also get scrolls. Scrolls are one-use items. The grimoire is to learn the magic, and then you can redo that spell all the time on a wizardry test. Different kind of potions. Several. You have to roll for it. Elixir of life is the most expensive. You can also buy them if you want to buy them. The wizards can use their spells out of game. That's one of the most interesting part on the spells. There are spells like I think even raise zombie. You can raise one and then you take it as a soldier into combat. like summon demon. You summon a demon and bind it to you, and then you can take it into the next fight. And also those scrolls, you can write a scroll by cast the write scroll spell, and then the spell that you want to write, you have to cast both of them successfully. Then it's in the scroll, and now it works much easier inside the game as a one-use item, which is cool. You can prepare for your games. Magic items, basically most have +2 on fighting or shooting or damage modifiers. Armor, magic armor of course has plus on armor, as you would expect. You can buy a lot of magic items. The Staff of Power will give you willpower to sacrifice, so Staff of Power 1, 2, and 3 will either have that much willpower, and this can be used for empowering spells. There's the Orb of Power. This has 8 willpower. The Orb of Power, reduce it and keep it over the games. When it's gone, it's gone. The others, up to willpower 3, will restock until the next game. The other ones, both of them are self-explaining. Gloves of Casting give you better wizardry rolls. Belt of Animal Repellents. Enemies have to test before they can attack you. Animals, yes. Boots of Speed, +1 movement. A lot of interesting things. Ring of Slow Fall. If you fall down from something, you will not get any damage. Interesting item. Here. Okay. Buy new ones. Soldiers, just buy them. Apprentices, they will get more expensive due to the level of your wizard. So there's a formula here, and then you can basically buy them. New wizards, that's not possible, but you can move your apprentice to the wizard section and use your apprentice as a new wizard. Buy a new apprentice. You can buy and sell the grimoires and the scrolls. You can basically write one and sell it. A scroll can be purchased for 400, sold for 100, so 25% if you sell it. Then you can establish a base. That's one of the coolest options. You decide where you put your base. In an inn, you can increase your warband by 1. In a brewery, you will get more money, basically. Library, you have a chance to find interesting things. Then you build resources into your base, and I will always build the carrier pigeons for 5 gold crowns. Every soldier costs 1 less. If you play more than a few games, this will always pay off. About 1 gold crown less. It doesn't really matter, basically. It's just a funny item. The other ones are more interesting, like the Celestial Telescope aids the wizard in divining the future. He may get +2 on an initiative roll. Summoning Circle helps to summon demons and bind the demons, but they are expensive, 300 gold crowns. You're starting with 500, so this is something you have to save for. Now we come to the spells, and it's 80 spells. I won't go through them. Not all of them, at least. Base is a casting number here. That's how much you have to roll. You have to roll higher, or equal or higher. It has a category, which could be out of game. That means that's one of those, you enchant a weapon and produce a magic item with the out of game spells, or raise a zombie. Can be self only, the others are all in-game effects. Just on yourself, inside line of sight, it has an area effect, or touch, so a neighboring model. And now we start with the spells. The first one is Absorb Knowledge. This is an out of game spell for the Sigilist, and he basically gains 50 experience points. So it's easy to cast on an 8. If you are also increasing your willpower once or twice, you're a Sigilist yourself, so you cast it on 8, have willpower +2, so you cast it on 6. This should basically always work. You gain immediately 50 experience points. half of a new level out of the game just add for the sea list in this case. Yeah, let's see if that one really works. For the others, it's of course more difficult to use that spell, but I would still find it interesting for the aligned lores. Yeah, animate construct. The enchanter gets one of his constructs to life. Beauty, the illusionist. That fits, of course. He is that beautiful that you have to do a will roll before you can fight him. Bind demon. Self-explaining, basically. Create grimoire. That's write one of those books. Control the undead. Control the construct. Control an animal. Always the same for different lores. The necromancer, enchanter, and witch, and that's the here. And basically, if you see an animal, you need line of sight. Then you have to cast it with a casting value of 12, and yeah, then the animal does a will roll against it. If that roll fails, the spellcaster gains control. And now it's part of your warband. Similar for undead and construct. Dispel. Cancel anything that is ongoing. Elemental ball. This is the fireball from the Elementalist. Elemental hammer. Familiar. Explosive rune. Summon a demon. Glow. This is an interesting one. You cast it on a target, this one starts glowing, and all your shooting attacks get +3. So combine it with 3 marksman and maybe 2 crossbowers, take out that target. Interesting combination. Leap helps you jump. Push pushes you off a cliff in a certain direction. Then shield gives you armor. Reveal invisible, there's also an invisibility spell. Cool. Teleport. Time store. You can store 1 action to the next round. Max is 3 that you can have. Really cool spells. A lot of thought in there. Chapter 5, scenarios. And okay, they are all kind of described in here. I won't go through them. We will describe them when we are playing them in here. The Living Museum. Yeah, you need some statues here and they fight. It's really fun. Let's play them once and explain them then. We also have bestiary. We had some random encounters, and I would for sure add this rule. I'm not sure if we were using this table we have here, since I don't have all the models in here, but for my more time collection there should be more than half of them already prepared. And you can have skeletons, zombies, bear, a wild boar, spiders, snow leopard, giant rats, a wolf, an ice toad, werewolf, snow troll. But you would need the models, and then here we have the rules for them. They would show up and move and try to attack. Here's the gorilla. It really looks nice. I think I'd get something like that. Yeah, wild dogs, demons, small, minor and major demons, a frost giant. Yeah, that's a cool figure. And then I said at the end of the book, we basically do have the all of the spells and cards. You can also download a PDF and then print them. So, hope to see you soon back here at the Grüne Horde. Bye bye.